Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today is going to be a continuation of the character suggestion post that I did on my community post like a couple of months ago. So basically, I will be doing part two, and it's going to be technically the final part. And what I mean by that is that I'm going to be posting another post again asking for your character requests, but this time I'm going to do them kind of like in a themed sketch page. So if you haven't watched, this is going to be spoilers, but if you don't want to get spoiled, please watch the first part. I'll link it in the description or it'll be in a card above. But in the first part, I ended up drawing about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters. So I drew characters from different series so that there would be no overlap. And I tried my best to draw characters that I haven't drawn technically from other series. I guess like minus a few, but the kind of sketch pages I want to do for future character suggestions is going to be more themed towards the series. So you'll be able to request more than one character, and then the entire sketch page will be catered towards that series. So for example, if I get multiple requests for Haikyuu characters, then the entire page will be, let's say, Kenma, Tsukishima, Yamaguchi, it could be Bokuto, anybody, but I'll be filling the entire page with the series of characters instead of having a bunch like this, just because it'll be a little bit easier for myself to allow myself to draw more characters from the same series, because I tried my best to have zero overlap, to have a greater selection, but I think it'll be fun to do more like series so that you guys can have a plethora of characters that maybe I'm not too familiar with to be drawn. So let's go ahead and start off with making our new canvas. So it looks like I used a 14 by 10. So let's go ahead and edit this one. I guess this one will be 14. And kind of like different from the previous video as requested as well, this will be in real time, but I am going to chop down the footage so it's a little bit more digestible. And I think like moving forward for the next few sketch pages that I do end up doing for the themed ones, I will be doing them in real-time sessions like this, just because I think I will be able to have more time to do them in this manner instead of like chunking all the footage and doing voiceover after. I just have to think how exactly I want to do this. So the person that I want to draw to start off is a character that technically I am familiar with, but they do have two different looks. So I think it'll be fun to do both of their looks kind of like into one little sketch. So we'll try to see how this works. I do like basically starting on one side of the canvas, and then we're going to branch out and let things kind of overlap. So it's kind of like that time of day where I actually haven't really warmed up with drawing. So the first drawing might always be like the most rough compared to the rest. I do feel bad that I drew Oikawa quite poorly. So maybe I will go back and do like a few Haikyuu drawings. Because I don't record these as often anymore, just because the location of my filming setup is just not optimal. I'm looking forward. I didn't mention who I'm drawing, so maybe once we get the sketch closer to being finished, I will reveal technically who I'm drawing, but at this point, see if you can guess and put your predictions in the comments. And because I'm sketching, I am not going to be like as super clean about everything, and I will be rendering my sketches to like some degree just to clean them up. I feel like I want his eyes to be even more sharp. Let's see, how would you hold a fan? The funny thing is, like, I feel like the fan should be on this side, actually. So I think, yeah, I will try my best to not reveal the character until we're actually in the coloring phase. I have like a funny story about this series though, because while I was at Anime Fun, friend was trying to gauge like, oh, like what series were you drawing? So like she's familiar with my artwork when she's at my table helping me basically like sell my merch. And I have a print, not of this character specifically, but of characters from the series. And she was trying to get a grasp of like, what is the series about? And I gave her such like a bad summary of it. I probably won't repeat it, but she was low-key interested just because she wants to see how like crazy this one character is. I would love to draw fan art of the characters from the series though, just because it was like a fun, lighthearted, and your hint is going to be kind of like sports anime, I guess. Friendship sports anime. Because like the premise of it was kind of hard for me to explain. Why is it kind of more hardcore, if that makes sense? It's not like Haikyuu per se, where it's like normal sport can be really intense. Okay, let's add in his glasses. Which I never looked at his glasses before. Maybe I'll draw it on a separate layer. Because I'm kind of like dodging the hairlines. Now the problem is like, one, I haven't drawn this character before. So trying to make him look recognizable, but then drawing him twice to make them look like the same person is also going to be a problem for me. So I don't know, how am I going to do his hair? I just realized maybe I shouldn't put him on the other side, but... Two types of fabric. Okay, his outfit. I hope I'm not like entirely butchering him to anyone who's actually a fan of the series, and particularly this man. After having kind of like one established, I can kind of like slot drawings in. I think this is okay. They might be the biggest one right now, but I'm gonna count this technically as drawing two people. Now, I don't remember in my previous session if I kept a version of all my sketches or if I just used the same one. So I'm gonna change my sketch to multiply. I won't explain this for all of them, but I'll explain it for the first one. We're gonna adjust the hue and saturation a little bit here. Make a new layer underneath, and then we can go ahead and choose what I like to consider usually their skin tone, and then we can use the freehand selection tool alongside with the color fill option. So I'm going to basically kind of trace all the way around the characters. Now you can be as clean or as messy as you want, as long as it works for whatever you're working with. Getting every area, or if I accidentally exceed where my lines are, it's not really a problem. Whoops. We just need to get the general shape because it's going to be the easiest way to kind of fill in our shapes here. Now, one thing I'm going to do before we actually start to color is to also erase any of these areas that should be more like negative space. This is good. Okay, so after that, we can go ahead and alpha lock and switch brushes to a larger, kind of like softer brush. And we can start to shade in everything and color in all our rough colors. And then when we're ready, we can merge our sketch with these. So usually for this coloring portion, I don't shade everything like completely the same way as I would for like a actual full illustration, just because I know I'm gonna leave a lot of this actually quite messy, but just enough so that I have context of a little bit of depth here and there, maybe lighting if I really need it. Oh, by the way, I think maybe if you're a fan of the series, it should be obvious by now maybe who I'm drawing. So I'm drawing Cherry from Skate the Infinity. I think from my recollection, he was the only skate character suggested, and I have drawn both Reiki and Longa before in the past. Because I was trying to explain who Adam was, and she needed to see like a full clip of his personality and what he looked like. Because I showed him what he looked like in his like normal everyday attire, but like the second photo kind of like really threw her off. I think because the coloring is quite standard for a lot of them, I probably speed through majority of the coloring in terms of how I will edit this down. And then for majority of the sketching, I think I'll leave in as much as I can to a certain degree. I was gonna say Ringa. Longa and Reiki, and I forgot the rest of the characters' names. But it'd be a good idea for me to do like them in kind of like one whole series as a sketch page, so I don't have to dedicate like individual illustrations to them specifically. Kind of want it warmer. I don't remember if I mentioned, but the reason why I alpha lock my color layer after adding like our base skin tone is to basically keep all of our colors contained within that very first pass, so that I can't do this. Like it won't go into the gray area because it's locked into this skin tone-ish color that I blocked in earlier. Or switch back to infinite music because nostalgia is hitting real hard right now. We're going to go back to my sketch, and I'm also going to alpha lock it. So this will allow me to basically color my sketch to be like a more appropriate color depending on the areas. But typically for these kinds of like sketch pages and just sketches in general, I do like making the lines kind of on the lighter side more often recently. Ooh, wait. The reason why I like using usually a lighter color for my sketches line work more recently, I've done it a few times before, but I didn't really know exactly why I liked it. But it's mostly because it'll give me the opportunity to really darken up certain lines to make it kind of like appear cleaner. And it kind of gives it a nice like bolder look, with the lines being darker in some places to kind of draw your attention a little bit more. So this is kind of what our sketch looks like. Now, just for kind of making things look a little dramatic, I am going to clip a addition layer, and we're going to add a harsher rim lighting. I'm not really planning on adding it to the other one, but for this one I think it would be kind of fun just because it's kind of more of a dramatic pose compared to the other one. But with that being said, we are going to knock it back because it's a little too intense. And then I feel like my throat's been terrible recently, so I'm gonna also unalpha lock this, but you can see all of my sketch, my colors and stuff are all in one layer. So we're gonna switch brushes, and then we can actually start to kind of clean up but also accentuate certain parts by making our line art a lot darker. Now while I'm doing this step, I'm not going to be placing darker lines everywhere. You definitely could, but I'm going to focus more of the lines towards places that have like tangents or places that I want more focus to. And hopefully the contrast will allow me to kind of make an illusion that this is a little bit more cleaner than it actually is. But you can kind of tell like what kind of look that I'm going for in terms of these sketch pages, where they're kind of like borderline rendered-ish in a clean way. But I'm leaving like a lot of these weird lines here and there. But eventually, I will get more comfortable doing more real-time talking videos so that we can do like more of a finished illustration together. It's kind of similar to like the start to finish videos. I feel like I should move the highlight though. Maybe I'll do like little chibis of them. The thing about like skate characters, they have some fun colors like among the character spread because their colors are very vibrant. Okay, so I think, yeah, cherry is done. I don't think I labeled them. I do end up adding a white border around them, so I guess this will be our final step. And I do this with a fairly thick version of my sketching pencil. So it has a little bit of that texture and tooth, but I find it just easy to lay down like thick, solid lines. Cherries. Both cherries are done. Let's move on. So what I'm going to do is make a new layer, and usually I'm actually going to place the layers underneath the drawing that I just did because I want this one to be in the front and everyone we're going to draw probably will be behind this one, and depending on how I'm positioning them, they most likely will appear mostly behind each subsequent drawing. So let's go ahead and switch our brush back to our pencil brush and start the next character. Okay, so the next character, I guess we're still playing the guessing game, so let's go ahead and start to sketch them out. I think last time I was drawing the characters, I moved upwards and kind of like in this direction. I think I'm just going to go directly across. See if this kind of works. So I need to check which hand she carries her. This is like her staff. But I think it's more towards like that more shoujo-esque style. Okay, let's see how I'm gonna do her hair. The thing about shoujo hair, I feel like they're always so detailed. I kind of miss like reading more of those like classic shoujo mangas. But I haven't been reading really any manga as of late though. Not after like Dungeon Meshi, I guess. It's the only thing I've or I guess like Witch Hat Atelier. I still am not finished. I need to go back and finish it. I'll have to look up another reference of her. Like I said, I didn't really grow up with this anime. I think the only anime that I really watched when I was a kid was like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, like those ones. I know a lot of people watched this anime. There's like a few other ones that are around this time. But, like growing up, we were like one of the only Asian families in like a small village. So there wouldn't be like a lot of exposure, if anything. You consider... Oops. Cut that. Okay. I don't know how this is gonna happen, but if you guys know who I'm drawing, do you consider her more like pink? Or do you consider her more like red? I didn't realize how large her hat is. Well, I also drew it like 10 times bigger. Her design's so cute though. I kind of wish I grew up with this anime. But other than like Pretty Cure, I don't think I grew up with like really watching any magical girls, if this wasn't evident. I have her dress. Another thing about like sketching though, the more clean I am with the sketching phase, usually I have an easier time with the rendering phase, but that might not be the case every time. This is a cute shape too. I have to change the thickness of this a little bit. But I think I'll just give this a go. I might try to liquefy it a little bit, because I didn't realize how kind of squat I made her body. Hopefully adding color will fix it a little bit more. I might fix a few things once we start to actually like render and everything. I might like repaint some parts if I feel like it doesn't read correctly. Hopefully I won't butcher her too much. She'll actually look cute, hopefully. Whites of her eyes. But yeah, this is like one of the animes that I did not really watch growing up. But I know one of my best friends, like she really likes the series. Hopefully I'm remembering that correct. I think she was like a Sailor Moon kid too. I'll basically just add some things that I typically add in my drawings, like making the top part a little bit more darker, having more of a gradation as we go lower and lower on the eye. Maybe add a highlight. So kind of like typical shoujo. I feel like the highlights are a very specific kind of way. I think it's mostly because of the way they do more detailed strands in their hair. I'll try to make this ribbon maybe more intense of a red, because I'm looking at her design. I think her bow is a little bit more of a vibrant red compared to the rest of her outfit. Maybe that's why I was reading it more like pinkish. So because the base is more of a pink. Okay. So then we need like a gold on her dress. I think we might be good to proceed. Just in some parts I want them to be already a little darker. But for the most part, I think a lot of these areas are probably appropriately colored. Okay, so merge this down. Oops, actually I'm gonna erase a little bit up here. Okay, then we can merge. Switch brushes, and we can start to darken up our lines here. I forget what's their name. I think a long time ago I have a zine or like a fan book, and this person had like a bunch of guest artists in it. A lot of them that I did know, but there was like a few that I didn't. So I think, if I'm trying to remember their using, I think it's named Soundless Wind. I think they drew a lot of magical girls at some point too. think she's looking cute. I definitely think, yeah, the darker lines kind of helped even out her face a little bit. Trying to think who I want to draw next, because I drew... Ooh, maybe I want to shrink her down. I'm just realizing. Yeah, so let's go ahead and add in our white. Yeah, I think that's all the areas. So she is done. So that is technically our second character. Let's go ahead and move on to our next character, which I will probably put over here. Or, yeah, let's see. We can do one smaller one. So I think that's what I did last time too. Okay. Trying to think, how do I want to pose this character? So we are going to put them behind our card captor Sakura. Because I don't, the problem is like I know nothing about this character. Trying to find a good size. Do you do this? I might have to look up like extra references for him. So to make sure that these look somewhat even. Kind of flatten out this eye. Excuse me. Let's see. I'm referencing my own hand right here. So I'm gonna see if this even works out for what I wanted for his hand pose. So I have to put it behind his cheek. I can only kind of guess what certain features he has, because I actually don't know if he only has one thing. Or fang-like tooth. Okay, I think I'm assuming maybe he's like a hyena. Because even though I'm not going to say the character until a little bit later, if I remember his name. But I'm also taking my own guesses here because I know nothing about this character. And I didn't really look up any information. I literally just looked for references. And I'm only familiar with, I think, 2 characters from this game. Except for, I guess now with this character, I'm maybe kind of getting to know a little bit more about 3 of them. Okay, scarf time. Sometimes I really pay attention on how I layer up a scarf. Other times I do it so poorly that when I'm painting in folds, I have to cover up so much of the areas again because I did not plan it out correctly. I think I'll leave timestamps for you guys for this so that I can keep this as a slightly longer session, because I think it would be nice to have more included for each of the characters. Okay, so I think we're just going to start coloring. I don't think there's too much I can really get out from just the sketching portion. New layer. Okay, let me turn up my brightness. It's kind of like that. And we can start to fill. I think the lack of human ear is kind of throwing me off in terms of how I wanted to draw that one side. So it might be hard to tell, especially from right away. I am drawing. I don't know how to say it. It's either Ruggy or Rugi. So I'm gonna say it's Ruggy Booty from Twisted Wonderland. So visually, I know 2 other characters, but the only one I know by name. So the other one that I knew is Riddle. Someone else I think told me about the character Floyd. So yeah, Riddle is the only one I knew because someone asked me to draw them, and I'm like, oh my god, they actually look a lot like Tsukasa from Ensemble Stars in terms of like the shape of their hair and the color. I'm struggling to get his hair color. I have like a gajillion different yellow colors going on at the moment. And someone can let me know whether or not this guy is like based off of a hyena. I'm only saying that because of his hair right here. Make sure the brows are about the same color. I'm gonna have to keep them quite light. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna also add a little bit of that gray blue into his hair. His scarf. Like I said, I'm gonna add the patterning afterwards so that I can roughly kind of shade his scarf without having to worry about like dodging a pattern. Change our line art color, or I keep saying line art, it's technically my sketch. I guess it depends on how you view it, because I kind of treat my sketch a little bit like my line art if I'm doing more of like a painterly style. But as we start to darken things, hopefully even out a little bit. Also gonna get rid of the highlight. That helps a little bit. And the other one, so I feel like it's gonna appear a little bit more bold compared to the one that I did for these 3. So because this part of his face borders on his jacket, I'm just gonna use the black throughout and then just make things lighter as we approach this side of his face. I feel like this one's so rough. Whoever knows like a lot about Twisted Wonderland, give me like the briefest synopsis that you could about it. I think I've asked somebody about it last time. And I don't know if I talked about it, but when I'm doing like the series versions of the sketch requests, I will be doing some dupes. Because I know for a fact, the way that I drew Oikawa, I really dislike. So if I get a chance to draw him again, maybe I will. Either that for the sketch request video, or it'll be for like a personal drawing, because he is one of my favorite characters. So, other than, I think, adding the pattern, and Sad Luke comes on. But what was I talking about? I want to finish up as much of him as I can, so I can just go in and add that patterning to his scarf. Okay, let's do the patterning really quick. So we could do multiply and just pick a very dark color. Okay, I think that's it for his scarf, and I think that's it for Ruggy. So I'm going to merge this down. We are going to switch brushes, change this to white, and do a quick outline. I'm also using the white a little bit to help clean up, but for the most part, I'm trying to keep my white on the outside of all my lines if I can. There is going to be some exceptions, but just makes it a little bit easier, and I don't really want to have like the color sticking out too much. There. Now he is all done. I don't know if I drew him that well, but hopefully he's recognizable, so hopefully whoever requested this character, you don't dislike the way I drew him. But let's work on our technically 4th person, but 5th drawing. Okay, I think like in the previous session, I actually merged all these together. Just because I might move some of them a little bit. I'm actually going to keep them on their separate layers for now. I think it's going to be hard for me to draw something as long as I wanted to. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have picked out the next character. It's going to be a heck of a lot of like pink. So hopefully maybe the next 2 characters or 3 characters that I choose is not as pink as this. So next character I think is like one of the cutest characters ever, and just like, I don't know, I just love the style of it. It's just so adorable. So we'll see. I don't want to draw her too small. So this is technically from an anime I've always wanted to watch. I just have not found the time because I just haven't been really watching anything lately. But maybe I'll binge watch this one night, because like sometimes I don't sleep at proper times of the night and I just lay there and browse the internet for way too long. So maybe this will be good to just binge instead. So if I can draw this correctly, because I feel like this is a very like cutesy, fluffier anime, romance anime, I guess. Because I do want to draw her with her scarf. I think she just looks so adorable. I feel like I've drawn the neck too large. Kind of get the shape of the scarf correct to some degree. Cutely tucking her hair into her scarf. Can I fit 8 characters on this page? I feel like with Cherry, he kind of screwed it up a little bit. And I mean he, I mean me. I've always seen so many like screenshots from this anime. I do want to watch it. So I didn't really think about her hand positioning. So let's keep it simple so that she's not actually signing anything right now. Ah, wait. I don't know if that gave it away. So I think somebody asked me to draw the male lead as well for this one, but I was more compelled to draw the main girl. Let's make this fairly bright. Put the skin tone here. So I feel like the blush, the lips, and the nose kind of is very prominent. A bit of a gradient up here. I'm trying to keep it a little bit on the lighter side, if anything. Not too dark. I might add a hint of like a teal color maybe in the upper portion of her eyes. Just because I think it will look cute, and then we can add in our full highlights. Oh, I guess we're on the coloring phase. I am drawing a character from A Sign of Affection, I believe is what the anime is called. So this is Yuki Itose. And I believe she is the main character from what I've seen. And she's so freaking cute. I actually don't remember the guy's name. And he's very pretty. But something about her is just like so adorable. Let's see if I can get the right color here. Sometimes I find pink hard. It's like either too peachy or too like purpley, like bubblegum pink. So for the sake of this, I am gonna have majority of the light be on the upper left. So it's kind of the reason why I wanted also to have her face this way, or at least like one way or the other a little bit more, so that we can have her ear exposed, so I could draw in her hearing aid, which I think is just white. So add some shadows back into her face. So for her outfit, she had kind of like a cream checkered scarf. Almost like a beige, I guess. It's like a, well, I think I made it too beige. So because we have some of her other parts of her clothing a little bit showing, so in this case it's like the sleeve of her inside shirt. I believe she wears one that's like more teal or mint color, or like green. Maybe it's green. Something like that. There's also another, what's it called? Anime? I forget what it's called though. It's like a delinquent looking guy who likes to bake or something. Or works at his parents' like bakery or something like that. He meets like a girl from an all-girls school or something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and alpha lock our sketch. I'm going to change the color of her eyes a little bit to be a little bit darker up here. Okay, hopefully that works out a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and switch brushes and we can start to render and fix up our outlines for her. So let's do her eyes really quick, because I guess they're the most incomplete part of her face at the moment. So I'll make sure these look somewhat correct. So for the most part, when I'm doing these, I do try my best to keep at least part of the original style, one, it helps you make the character look more like the character. And then two, it's just more fun this way so that I don't default how I draw certain features or like how I draw certain eye shapes or something for a character, so I'm not accidentally making them look too out of character, if that makes sense. I really should get back to reading some manga again. I'm trying to rack my head around how am I gonna fit 4 more people? Oh, I chose a blue right there. She has mostly warm colors anyways. So I feel like hers isn't gonna take too much to clean up. I don't know if it's because she has a lot more softer colors, but or because her design is simple. There's some stray lines here that I feel like I'm just going to clean up a little bit, and then we will switch over to doing quick plaid patterning for her scarf. So I think we're good to go to do the quick patterning. Oh, wait, I did all that. These ones are vertical. The kind of middle center one is the one that's horizontal. I'm gonna go look who else I have to draw, because there's some I pre-picked. There is like a few characters that I'm kind of low-key scared to draw. Yeah, okay, so next up, I could shrink her a little bit to be honest, but I don't know how much room it would provide for here. So let's go ahead and just, how do I want to do this? We'll do one more here. Then we'll do one here and maybe one in the center. And I'll try to squeeze in like one little guy somewhere. Okay, I think I found our next character, but the problem is, right? Which one is his actual name? We're gonna give this a go. I can't really gauge what kind of personality he has. So I do apologize that I might accidentally butcher him and draw him out of character. So, another new layer. Yeah, let's try to draw him here. I don't know how small I'm gonna draw him so that we can fit at least 2 more heads into here. Keep it simple, I guess. So, there's a lot of different types of artwork for him, so apologies if my interpretation's a little bit off. I have no plan. No plan for a pose for this guy. Let's need to go like this. There's too many interpretations of him. I don't know which one's technically the official. Not Donghua. Is it Donghua? I forget what it's called. I'm not like a history buff or anything. I think I talked about this in the previous one as well. But I do like historical like animes and C-dramas. I guess I've watched a few K-dramas that have taken place. Heck, I think my mom's favorite was a Korean one. And I think as a kid, I couldn't tell the difference between like Cantonese dubbing over another drama until I was a little bit older. So I always thought the drama that she really liked was Cantonese, but it wasn't. You tell that I'm avoiding the face? So I guess because of how I have the jaw covered, kind of lost the center of his face a bit. So how do I interpret his hair? I also don't know how the ribbon is holding his hair up. Kind of ponytail here. Not like Ariana Grande styled. It's like a really long red ribbon. We're running out of space though. Can't tell which one I'm actually referencing. I feel like the official one or like the full body ones, like maybe him when he's older. I think his hair kind of got pulled by... Okay, so apologies about this, but let's go ahead and start coloring. So same method, change this to multiply. I'm gonna keep his lines. No, we could keep keeping it light. So the person that I drew, at least how I think it is Wei Ying from Modao Zushi, I believe. If I remember correctly, because I didn't really save the names. But after remembering it and searching it up, I don't know if his name is Wei Ying or is it Wei Wuxian. I don't know. I also don't speak Mandarin, so apologies about my atrocious pronunciation. So we have color fill, areas to kind of erase for negative space. Look for something that had the name Modao Zushi. Yeah. So I always remember seeing the abbreviation for the series name. I have no clue what the story is about. All I know is that the main characters from the series I've seen drawn a lot, and there's a lot of pretty fan art of them. And I think it's also a Danmei. So if anyone can tell me if his name is supposed to be Wei Ying or something else, because when searching it up, I put Wei Ying and it comes up with the same guy as Wei Wuxian. And I can see that the things, it's kind of cut off and it says like Grandmaster of something. I know the previous one I've drawn was part of, I think, Heaven's Official Blessing or something like that. Just because I do know like Tian or Tin means heaven. The name of the series or anything like that, besides the fact that it is a Danmei and I've seen very pretty art. Designs, I just think they're all like super pretty. I love seeing like the traditional clothing. And this hair, so his hair, I'm gonna start off kind of with this dark brown. So his hair is technically black. And we are going to have our light coming from more or less the right side this time. Yeah, I really am lost on how I want to render his face. As I'm looking at this, should I move Yuki to make more room? Because I could budge her more to the right. Just her backpack's exposed now, but... Okay, let's get back to Wei Ying. Quick merge of our sketch and our colors. I can only hope, because I don't know how I want to do his eyes. Like, do I just do my normal style and just hope for the best? Okay, let's add a little bit of a lighter color to our bottom here. Kind of wing it how I usually paint eyes to a certain degree. Bottom lash line. Bring down his hairline a smidge so that I can just darken up this area. Color back into here so that it doesn't look like just a random brush stroke per se. Forgot to un-alpha lock this. Sometimes I render for like quite a while because I work on the face without realizing that I've alpha locked it. Which is not really like a detriment by any means, but I should come into like more of a habit of unlocking it as soon as I merge the layers. I don't remember if this is the mockup that Reimu was talking about. She talks about BL quite a bit, but I don't have that much knowledge on it. I think I've read like 2 or 3. There was one that like really hurt me. It was like a recommendation by my friend. Because I like those kinds of stories that make you feel like you have your heart being ripped out. Is that weird? Maybe. I do like angst, like while reading it. I hate, I guess, like watching it. I don't know if it's because I usually can control the pace of it. Or sometimes I'm more invested into something if I'm reading it versus like just consuming by watching. So maybe I'm not giving it my full attention. Okay. So this is Wei Ying. I think that's how we're gonna end up drawing him for today. I'll probably put 2 normal headshots here. So let me go figure out who I'm drawing next and we can move on to sketching. I'm still debating how I want to do this. I kinda want to shrink Sakura a little bit. Just to give a little bit more room, like just a smidge more room. Really depends on how I want to position her. Make this work out. So I have like 2 official arts that I'm looking at of her. I would love to make like actual art of her once I actually watch the series. I think that's gonna be like a continuous theme. I need to see if I can find a close up of the official arts. Should the thumbs facing the correct way. Let's see. I think I need to find more references of her. I believe she has freckles. I don't like how thick her neck is right now. I have like a reference sheet of her open. She has some funny expressions. According to like one of my friends who like really is into like manga and she like reads things super fast, she's already read this series like a long time ago. I believe it's not finished. I forget what she told me, but she really enjoyed the series. So I'm kind of looking forward to either reading it if I can or to watch it, cause hint hint, new season I believe is coming out, or it's already out. I forget. Hopefully coloring this will actually fix this weird face to neck area. You know, what am I talking about? This is where I become delirious. Pop in a skin tone. I believe she has freckles, right? Yes, okay. Just so I don't forget once we actually start to render. So I'm gonna add a little bit. Kind of keeping it light. So I think, according to my friend, she really likes her as a character. So I don't think she's like I'm assuming not a weak-willed character, because my friend tends to like either really cute characters or the ones that are more like a stronger protagonist. Made that a little bit too large. I think Ascendance of a Bookworm, I think that's what it's called, and this one were like my most anticipated that I wanted to watch at some point, at different time periods obviously, and Witch Hat Atelier whenever that will come out. To watch something. The problem is like I wish I could put it in the background, but because I don't know Japanese, it's kind of impossible to. It's kind of the same with like 17's, like going 17. Very behind on it because it requires me to really either really focus on it if I want to pay attention, to know what's going on, or kind of suffer through my very, very basic Korean knowledge. Which I think is really cute. I don't know if it's because I'm biased towards green. It's not like my favorite color, but it's like one of my favorite colors to use for like drawings and illustrations and stuff. Oops, let's go a little bit more pale than that. I might shrink her mouth a little bit so it's a little less wide. So she has basically 3 layers. So we have kind of like a light whitish color, and then we have like a pale green, and then we have our saturated green here. Ribbon. Green here before it looks too, I don't know, this green's a little bit hurting my eyes because it's so saturated, so I'm gonna add some blue shadows for the most part. So because she already stands out because of her color palette, I actually don't mind if I ended up doing a little bit more of lighting on hers. But first, let's go ahead and change our sketch colors a little bit. Do I want to knock it back a little bit? Maybe not. Let's just add a little bit of highlights then. Okay, then we're gonna knock it back. Merge down, and we can start with the rendering. So I might have a little bit more of other strands peeping through. Just gonna do a little bit of the dark brown first. So her eyes, which is kind of like the part where I'm kind of nervous about. Yeah, I'm kind of still debating on who I want to do as like technically the last character. Reshape. Wow. Reshape her face a little bit. So I was looking at her hair once again. It's not exactly split the way that I thought it was going to be, because I see the back side of her head. So she kind of has like a half updo, and then the lower half is kind of like split into two very, very low ponytails, basically. So I'm gonna try to get this to get less cut into her face. Okay, I need to sit up straight. So because of like the lighting here, I could just do like a dark color, or I can leave this a little bit lighter, more saturated. Such a squeaky chair. Back to a dark, kind of like a purpley blue. So her, yeah, I don't know, her hair, I kind of wish I drew a little bit better. Separate some of the sections of her hair. Okay, I think hers is more or less kind of done. I feel like I'm leaving each subsequent one now very rough looking compared to the ones I started off with. Okay, let's move on to maybe our final character. Maybe I don't have to do 8. Okay, so there's Mao Mao. So we're going to try to fit one more person. I might see if I can select Mao Mao and Yuki together. So new layer, I want it to be behind both of Wei Ying and Mao Mao. We could have it cut across into Wei Ying if we wanted to, but depends on the character we're going to draw. So I think we have one more guy to do, I think. I don't know if this is too silly. I did find one in my photos that is both pink and green. I know nothing about him though. I've watched like one episode, I think, or like a clip of an episode. All these ones were a little bit easier to interpret. Mama was a little bit difficult because I drew her incorrect, like right out of the gate. But let's see. Let's see what happens. I just need to think of how I want to draw him. One, so that he's visible. Maybe we do have to cut into Wei Ying. So let's rearrange these guys so that Wei Ying will be below who I'm about to draw. Like this. I might just do that. That way he can kind of fit in here without covering too much of Wei Ying. Kind of like how I did the last character on the first sheet. So for now, I will sketch based off of this one reference and then we'll tweak it if I need to, because I don't want to keep flipping back and forth. Also, I wasn't really kidding about these eyes. I might just color them in. Then we'll get rid of some of our sketch lines so that I can properly place our eyes in. What's, I'm trying to, is this too silly of a pose? It's this way. I'm kind of like this. Because he will have green. Because the thing is, like, I don't remember watching it on any website or anything. I forget if someone just had it downloaded to their computer. The thing is, it's like, if I have his... Maybe I'll just put one like this. This might work. I'm drawing a lot of fists. It's always like characters like this that have very simplified hair. Sometimes I find it the hardest to draw. Because I don't draw detailed hair by any means, but I think it's because like the preference on how I draw hair is usually not like this per se. It's not this choppy. I would usually bunch it up a little bit more. Okay, he actually has highlights, so... I was gonna say maybe before I tackle doing like the themed ones or like the series ones, I kind of want to do like an entire page of not exactly comfort characters, but characters that I really like from different series. Or maybe ones from like particular years of my life, like during my middle school years, high school, uni, after uni, and now. Okay, so how do I draw whatever the heck these are? Okay. So one, he doesn't cut into Wei Ying too much, and two, I can get this full piece right into here. And I am lazy, so we're gonna copy and paste it. I think there's no point of keeping this one like under wraps. You either know him or you don't know him at this point. So I am drawing Psyche from, I think it's the Disastrous Life of Psyche. I think that's the anime. And like I mentioned, for some reason I have watched exactly one episode and it gave me zero context besides that this guy's in high school, I think. I can't. So this one's kind of straight. This one's curved. It's more of a flat piece. Copy and paste. I might add a little bit of like, I don't know if he's telekinesis or some sort of psychic powers, but I will add that at the end. So for now, we're just gonna fill this in. little bit of warmth and then just the shadows here. He looks so deadpan. So for his eyes, we're just gonna shade and color them as normal, and then I will add another layer over top with the green. So I don't know what color is Psyche's eyes. Oh, they're purple. Okay. Wait, what the heck? For some reason I thought these were like permanently stuck to his head, but according to this reference image. We'll see if I end up getting rid of the little highlights for his eyes, because it seems like because he's so deadpan all the time, he might not need them. So his hair is very, very, very bright. Do let me know if you've watched Psyche before and if you enjoyed it. I feel like it's a little bit more of like a niche anime though, but he's very iconic. Or like, at least I've seen him a lot. I don't know if that's saying much though, but like I mentioned, he does have green. It's kind of more of like a faded blue-green. Compared to Mau that has more like warmer greens in some areas, but at least he kind of evens it out a little bit. His glasses are going to be more similar to probably Mau's main shirt color. The one... Actually, when I'm looking at him, I'm trying to close in the gaps a little bit. The more pictures that I find of him, his hair actually isn't as patchy. Orbs, or pink balls. So let's add them in. Add in a highlight. We're gonna just do highlights. That also works. So I do not really know how exactly I want to do this. So we're gonna have to experiment because there could be some blend modes that work nicely. Darken's actually not too bad. Hard light kind of works. Let me see if I can adjust the colors on here. Darken kind of works if I erase a little bit here. Actually, I'm going to get rid of these lines. We're going to redo his hair a little bit. Everything else we can kind of either darken or fuss with a little bit more. Let's fix him up. I might liquefy a bit. So I do think his eyes are a little, not lopsided, they're just uneven. I mean, I guess that's like the same thing. For some reason, these colors remind me of like a ballpoint pen. Kind of like that purpley pink one. And you have like your dark blue. Adding more of like a slightly more dull shadow, but it's darker than what I initially placed down. But I can't tell, like, is this an anime that's similar to like Nichijou, where it's kind of like just everyday life, no super big driving plot? Darkening up his glasses here. Even though technically I do have an OC that has like more of a shorter haircut. I guess his bangs aren't like this choppy. I'm still, yeah, maybe I'll debate whether or not do I want to keep the highlights in for his eyes or do we want to go like full deadpan? Okay, I'm like less ball shaped. So hopefully I can rough it out a little bit. So some of these parts would benefit from like having the darker lines. Some of them will just like be fine if I add in our, I guess like the white outline. Especially like the part where it's overlapping into our character on the left, like Wei Ying. He will be the last character that I'm drawing for this one. And technically, I did fit 8 people onto the canvas. It's just I didn't draw 8 separate people technically. Because we have 2 of Cherry. Outline his outfit a little bit. We're almost to the finish line. I think it's okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually get rid of the highlights. Because I kind of kept his hair a little bit more cel shady, so I'm going to actually choose to do maybe the highlights like this. It's a little bit more sharper and bolder, but it kind of works. There we go. So last but not least, it was Psyche. So to kind of do a small little recap. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 technically, even though we have 2 of Cherry, like I mentioned earlier. Oh, wait. I totally forgot that I wanted to fill this in entirely green. So it looks like his body kind of continues. I can even add a little bit of shading and shadow into there. Okay, so now Psyche is done. Okay, so now with all 8 done, even though technically I've drawn only 7 different people, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching today. And moving forward, I think like every so often, maybe I'll do a page like this where it's like a conglomeration of a bunch of different characters from different series. But I'm going to ask for suggestions in a future community post where you guys can suggest multiple characters from the same series so that I can kind of compile them into their own sketch pages. So let's say like Haikyuu or Skate the Infinity, Project Sekai, those characters, anything like that. It could be VTubers, it could be Genshin, it could be Honkai Star Rail, whatever you want. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this session. Hopefully the way how I edited this down won't be just like super duper long, and it'll be somewhat digestible, but I want to give enough time for each individual little sketch and drawing that I did today, so it might be on the longer side. Do let me know how you like the format of this compared to the previous one, and hopefully the next time I do this, we'll do kind of like little themes, I guess. So before I leave, let's do a quick time lapse. As always, I will always put the actual more higher quality time-lapse at the very end of today's video, so if you want to check that out instead of this quick overview, then please be my guest. But hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me draw all these different characters, which I don't think I've drawn any of them before, so it was kind of nice to, you know, play around with some different colors alongside with the different types of characters today. Yeah. So I'll talk to you guys next time in the next video. Bye!